Guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about brand new medical coders and multiple medical coding credentials. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, first things first, I'm going to talk about why this is not a good idea, why brand new medical coders should only start off with one certification and get your experience and then you build on. I'm going to explain myself, all right? So if you're already getting upset because somebody told you that you need to get all these medical coding credentials, or perhaps you want to do this for your own self personally, that's fine. And we are okay to disagree. I am all right with that. But what I'm saying is I am a neutral source. I am not here to sell you anything. A lot of times people are hearing this, that you need to have multiple credentials, from people who are trying to sell a program. Those are business people. I am a peer, okay? I am one of the medical coders that's out there that's actually going to tell you the truth. When you look at the job listings, they're not asking for people to have multiple medical coding credentials. I have never seen a job listing that says candidate must have multiple medical coding credentials to get this job. Having multiple medical coding credentials also does not get you more money, okay? Especially when you are brand new. When you are brand new, you have no experience, you need to learn. When you get these certifications, this is supposed to say that you are proficient in whatever this additional credential is, all right? And it shouldn't be a repeat of the original content of your credential, right? So again, this is something that you all need to think about before you start adding on additional credentials. I have always recommended that if you're brand new, at least wait 2 years before adding on additional credentials, because again, you're not going to get more money. What do employers want? They want experience. They want you to know what you're doing. They don't care that you have a whole conga line of credentials after your name. They are looking at your knowledge and your experience. If you already don't have experience, that's already a knock against you. That's unfortunate for our industry, but this is the thing. A lot of times employers don't want to hire brand new people because a lot of times they're getting cattle herded through these programs and they're just pushing them to, with all of these exam strategies, like the comment that I'm going to read says, they herd them through with these exam strategies so that they can pass a certification exam, so that when they get out there, they can have this credential, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that person has shown complete competence to actually know what they're doing. They're just sort of hoping that they're going to learn on the job. And here's the thing. Some employers are patient enough, but there are a vast majority of employers that are not patient, and they want people to come in with experience. Now, to me, I still think that this is wrong, because how can you get experience if no one will hire you? I've already told you guys to apply with the temp agencies, and I get so much resistance. If you're writing me and telling me, I don't want to apply at the temp agency, you're getting blocked, because this is how I got in. And a lot of times, brand new medical coders want to put up a list of demands that they want right away. They want a high-paying job because that's what the school told them. They want to be able to show off all of their credentials. And guys, you need to learn to work your way up. Everybody has to earn their stripes. And if you think, oh, I'm going to start so low, guys, there is the average starting salary for a medical coder that you can find on the Bureau of Statistics, right? And you can look that up in your area, because it varies from place to place. Don't ask me what medical coders start at, because again, it's different everywhere you go. And when you are out there applying, you should be applying at places that are asking for experience, because if you've studied hard enough, you should be able to pass those assessment tests that those employers are going to give you. And if you can do that, you may get a shot at getting in. But you never know unless you apply. But a lot of people are looking for those entry-level positions, and you won't find them. There are very few and far in between, because trust me, if an employer says this is an entry-level position, trust and believe there's going to be thousands of people applying for those positions. So you need to apply for positions that you are qualified for. They're looking for an ER coder. Okay, you've been tested on the ER, all right, with your certification. So go ahead and apply. you know, you are tested on outpatient coding. Okay, again, go ahead and apply for that outpatient position. If you have a certification that has the inpatient coding on it, like the CCS or the CCA, by all means, go ahead and apply for those inpatient positions as well if that's what you feel comfortable with coding. So those are all the things that you need to be doing. But there's a lot of people that get discouraged right away when they don't see that the doors are flinging right open for brand new medical coders, okay? You have to work for it, and that's what this is. But I'm here to tell you guys this. All you need to start with is one certification. That is it. Because again, when I look in these job listings, it never says candidate must have multiple medical coding credentials to get this job. And they will not pay you additional for all these additional credentials that you have, okay? If that's what you're thinking. Oh, well, if I have 4 credentials, it's going to make me look better than somebody with 1 credential. No, if that person with the 1 credential can pass that assessment test and you can't, they're going to call on that person with the 1 credential. When you start adding on additional credentials, that also means that you're spending more money in continuing education units and membership dues, especially if you are a member of AAPC, because they do require you to be a member every single year that you hold their medical coding credentials. Credentials. So you do have to pay that membership fee every single year. AHIMA does not require you to be a member every year, all right? So I'm going to read this comment, and then we're going to get into it. So let's go. All right, so the commenter says, that's me, Blue. I was told that if I have multiple credentials, it makes me more competitive. I spent thousands of dollars to buy these classes. I have 2 credentials now and 2 more exams on the road. I still have the A for apprentice. No coding job yet. Actually, the school I went to really didn't teach too much on how to code in the real world, but tons of exam strategies. Now I realize that if I have all 4 credentials, I probably can't get all of the CEUs to keep the credentials. I wish I knew you 2 years ago. And this just breaks my heart. That's just so sad to me that somebody would be so taken advantage of like that. I am not against people going through like programs to like, okay, how do you code for risk adjustment? Like if somebody's really interested in coding for risk adjustment and you want to take a risk adjustment class, that is, by all means, that's fine, right? You don't have to get certified for it, all right? When you look in the job listings, again, they're going to ask for the CRC, or they'll ask for the CPC or the CCS or the CCA or the CCSP. They will ask for those credentials, okay? I've seen them do that tons of times, all right? So with that, when you're doing those things, right? When you're doing those specialty things, those are going to be already included in the credentials that you have, right? That you can code diagnosis coding, because that's all risk adjustment is, right? Billing, you're already tested on reimbursement, okay? And when you look at the job listings for medical billers, they're not even asking for the person to be even certified. Okay, so that says a lot, right? And I wish that medical billers had to have at least a medical coding certification, because when you're pushing through the billing stuff, you really should know. I mean, and that would cut down a lot of the denials, but that's just my own personal opinion. And the thing is, a lot of times billing companies, when I've looked at job listings, okay, just what I've seen, they are willing to train. They just want you to have a high school diploma or a GED. Sometimes they will want you to have had previous work experience as a biller, but a lot of times they don't even ask for that. They just say that, you have to have a typing proficiency and that kind of thing. So those are some alternatives if you're wanting to start in medical coding that you can go down, right? Those are the roads you can go down. But here's the thing. You don't need more than 1 credential. And having a whole line of credentials after your name, it does nothing. It does nothing to get the attention of employers, especially if you have a poorly written resume and you just, you have like maybe your name on your resume and then you have like your list of credentials and things like that. Well, if your credentials are not on your name, they're not going to recognize that you're even certified to begin with, okay? So you want to make sure that you have a properly written resume. I do resume rewrites. My rate is in the description box below if you're interested in that. But if you're giving out 3 or 4 page resumes, again, that's a no-go. a resume should be no more than 2 pages. Okay, if you are sending out long, redundant, repetitive resumes, again, that's not what employers are going to be looking for. And they have tons and tons of resumes to sift through when they are, you know, trying to hire people. So keep everything to the point. Don't repeat. You know, make sure that you put on there on your skills that all the things that you've learned from your program. I don't want to see that you're organized and that you're a team player on your skills, because that means nothing to employers. Okay, when they're looking at the skills list, they're looking at, do you know ICD-10-CM? Do you know ICD-10-PCS? Do you know CPT? Do you know HCPCS? And you don't have to say excellent ICD-10-CM, excellent HCPCS, because it's already on your skills. You're already showing proficiency anyway. You don't have to, you know, qualify it with excellent or anything like that. So those are the things that you need to keep in mind when you're out there trying to apply for jobs. Don't get taken advantage of by these schools, guys, because at the end of the day, they are a business. Now, if you go through these extra programs to supplement your knowledge and things like that, okay, but you don't have to necessarily sit for the certification just because you went through the course, right? You can just take the knowledge and keep going, because at the end of the day, those additional credentials is going to cost you money. And everybody wants to start off on the highest salary and everything, but let's look at it from a business standpoint. Are you going to hire somebody and pay them the salary that would be expected for somebody who has years of experience? Does that make sense to you all? Because it doesn't make sense to me. When you're hiring somebody brand new, you're going to start them off at a decent rate, yes. And again, it varies everywhere, so don't ask me what the starting salary is. But if you are starting at a decent rate, you know that's just where you're starting. That's not where you're going to be at for the rest of your time as a medical coder, right? You are going to go up in time. I got, you know, several raises in 1 year when I was first starting out, because I went from one place to the next place to the next place. But if you always stay so focused on the money, you're not going to get any kind of joy or any kind of reward out of this career field. And this career field is very rewarding. This career field does pay very well. Everybody knows this, okay? But it's about how much knowledge you have. It's not about how many credentials you have. I am not impressed when I see a bunch of credentials. And, you know, coding managers who know a thing or two are also not impressed. They want to know if you know how to code. That's all they need to know. And you can know how to code with just one certification. I know, because I did it for many years. I have 2 credentials now, but again, I am a veteran medical coder with years of experience. And I've got other things going on that require me to have a little bit more on my plate because of where I'm going in my career. So that's something that you all need to consider. If you've never been a medical coder before, start off with 1, because some people discover that they don't even like it. People who have gone to college and gotten their HIM or HIT degrees, they're like, well, if I would have known that it was like this, I would have never have spent all this money. And they spend $30,000-$40,000 on a degree that in a field that they hate or that they don't even like, or it's not even for them. So that's the thing that you all need to recognize, is that before you go and you spend all of this money, start with 1, so that way you can decide if you like it. Okay. You don't have to go through Practicode if you have a CPCA. You can still get a job with a CCSP. I know, because the majority of my audience is with AAPC. And because they are, they tell me when they get jobs. And a lot of them have gotten jobs with the CCSP. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just people's mentality of the whole situation of thinking that, oh no, I have to get rid of it because, you know, the employer is not going to want me. The employer is not going to want you if you don't know what you're doing. That's why they're not going to want you. They're going to want you if they say, okay, well, this person has learned a lot through school. We're going to give them a shot. And, oh, yeah, they're doing really well. Okay, so we're going to go from there. They're also going to take into consideration the people who have worked for the temp agencies, because a lot of times employers will use the temp agency to kind of like look through candidates, potential candidates, and see how is this person going to get along with our staff? You know, if we want to call somebody, hey, we're going to call a temp agency and we're going to see if they can send somebody over, and then they send you over and you're there and you're saying, okay, well, I'm here to fill in, or, you know, for somebody's maternity leave or paternity leave or whatever, and I'm here to fill in. So put me in, coach. And so you go, you do a good job, and then they say, okay, well, we have a position anyway because we have another one opening up. Hey, why don't we keep the person who's been with the that came over from the temp agency? We'll go ahead and hire them on ourselves because they've gotten along well. They fit in with our work family. So we think that they would make a good fit. Nothing wrong with it. Okay. And on the other hand, right, the other side of the spectrum, you may get there and you may think, gosh, I don't like it here, you know, for whatever reason. And then you can be in the driver's seat and say, okay, well, I don't like this assignment. I don't really like where I'm at. You know, it's just not, you know, right for me. Can you send me on another assignment? Sure. You know, so that's the benefits of working with a temp agency. You know, there's so many benefits, but, you know, that's one of the big ones is that, you know, you never know what's going to happen, and you can make those connections, those work connections. So that's something that you can do if you are looking to network. It's nice when you are working in the facility, so you can start meeting those people that are going to be doing the hiring. At least that's just my advice anyway, guys. So yes, you know, just pump the brakes when it comes to trying to get all these certifications because you don't need them, okay? And you can look at the job listings and see if those additional credentials are employers asking for those as much as, you know, the CCS, the CCA, CCSP, or even the CPC, okay? So that's something that you all can think about when you're out there trying to decide what is best for you. But again, you don't need multiple credentials, guys. Wait until you've had experience and then expand. Yes, by all means, do that. Then yes, you should be able to do that. And if you have a degree and they're telling you that, you know, you need like the CCS with your degree, that makes sense because the degree programs, their concentration, the RHIT, the RHIA, the RHIT is a registered health information technician. That is the associate's degree. The RHIA is a registered health information administrator. That is a bachelor's degree. A lot of times employers will ask those individuals to have a CCS in addition to, and that is just because the concentration of those programs is not medical coding. It is the managerial side. It is the legal side. It is all of those things. So the statistical side, that's what they deal with. They deal with the data part of it all, in the managerial part of it all. They're not really on the day-to-day in coding, okay? And if you are doing coding with the RHIA or the RHIT, typically more with the RHIA, if you're doing coding with that, you are working under the potential of that degree designation. I'm just saying, you can do a lot more than just coding, okay? Because that program is designed for the managers, okay? The leaders of our industry. So that's something that you should know. But yes, a lot of times they do ask for the degree holders to have an additional certification in medical coding if they're going to be in medical coding. And sometimes it's just so that they can be the tiebreaker because medical coding part of those two programs is so small. It is almost negligible. It's the amount of focus they have on the coding part, okay? Because again, that's not what their concentration is. Their concentration is the managerial side. So if you are in a program right now, hopefully you know that. Hopefully they've told you about that. I did get a message from somebody that asked me, well, Bleu, should I just quit my RHIT program and just go for a medical coding certification instead? Why would you quit? You've already started it. Just finish what you started, you know. You never know. With RHITs, the associate's degree, that's more of the worker bee, okay? So they are the ones that are going to be more hands-on with the coding side because they're typically like the lead coder. Sometimes they're an auditor and that kind of thing. So that's what they do. And you know, I'm always going to encourage you all to get education. But if you're already in a program, don't stop. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. You've already paid for it. You may as well finish it. This is my advice anyway. So I'm going to wrap this one up, but guys, I hope that you all take away from this message that yes, additional education is great, but you don't have to get every single certification that's out there. Okay, guys, there's really no reason for it unless you've had experience and you're doing something specialized or whatever the case may be. But I wish you all the best in your journeys, and again, do your research before you start spending more money. That's just my advice anyway. So thank you all for joining me. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.